So here we're just going to go through the process of sketching a thumbnail for one of the panels in our storyboard. I'm just setting up some cursor preferences. I'm using a standard cursor. Right there I'm using Alt and right mouse button, which is set up on my Wacom stylus as the #1 pen button position. So I'm just sketching. I'm using a brush with some shape dynamics to give me a little bit of transparency according to how hard I'm pressing on the tablet. I'm using flow of about 30%, and I'm just going to sketch in here an idea of the background from looking at the background plate that I shot from Maya using the standard perspective camera. So that's on another monitor, and now I'm just going to sketch in my Humvee. Just a rough idea. I try to limit how much time I'll spend on a thumbnail in the beginning of storyboarding, because I find that I really need to get the idea out. I don't want to get bogged down in the details. It doesn't have to be exact. I'll do some erasing like you see here, but not much. Just a really rough drawing. Doesn't have to be a masterpiece. I just want to communicate the idea of a Humvee in the background. This shot, once I actually used this thumbnail in the storyboarding, after I've cleaned it up a little, not much. It's only going to be on screen for a fraction of a second, so it doesn't have to be something fancy. As we move to the foreground Humvee, this video is sped up. It's at 200% of the original, so I don't draw at that speed. But I am trying to quickly move through the thumbnailing process here, leaving myself enough detail to come back to later, and communicating the idea so that others that I share the material with will be able to get the picture. I don't have time to set up perspective lines here. That would weigh me down. So I'm just kind of feeling out the perspective as I go. Switching between the eraser with some commands that I have set up on my Intuos 4 on the command strip on the left hand side. I'm right handed, so I am using an Intuos 4 Wacom tablet. I'm also using some brushes that I got from Digital Tutors. Got a large collection of their stuff. A lot of good stuff there. I certainly do recommend Digital Tutors. Here I'm going to switch to a harder brush. This just isn't giving me the amount of detail that I'm looking for, so I'm going to switch to some different brush settings. I don't really want to change the brush settings on these brushes. They're already set up and usable. So here I'm going to make a dot, make another dot, and then I'm going to use the Shift command. I'm turning up the opacity. Shift command to connect them. Oh, still the wrong brush, so I'll select the other brush, bring its size down, and using Shift I'll make a dot, and connect the dot. Make a dot, connect the dot inside of Photoshop. I don't use a lot of shortcuts inside of Photoshop, but I do have certain shortcuts that I'll use because I'm always going to those, or I always need those commands. Some more straight lines using that harder brush. This is probably a little bit more time than I really like to spend. On a thumbnail. That's why I use a timer. I have a timer set at 15 minutes, which forces me to step away from my work. I'm going to return to that softer brush. Take the opacity back down and kind of sketch in some more of the background so I get more of a feeling of separation from the foreground elements. Kind of framing what I've done. So I'm just looking here at the flow of the panel, the flow of the shot. Kind of comparing, making sure it makes sense. And then I got the idea I was looking for. That looks about right. Humvee comes down, Humvee slides. Okay. Just a little bit more. Alright. That was kind of bugging me, so I'll throw some detail in there on the tire. And that's that.